my Journey Instruments OF422 guitar. This is actually one of the coolest guitars I have because it is collapsible. You can fold it in half and take it with you. It's a great travel guitar. So if you're interested in more information about it, I'll make sure to leave that link in the description box below. Here's a quick overview of everything I'll be covering in this tutorial today. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. All right guys, so you only need to know 3 different chord shapes to play through this song. And really it's only 2, so let me go ahead and show them to you. The first is our E minor, which looks like this and sounds like this. And by the way, if you don't know how to read these chord charts you're seeing on screen, I do cover how to do that in my free beginner series right here on YouTube, so make sure to check that out. The next chord is our D6 add 9 over F sharp, and all you want to do is take your 2 fingers and move your index finger up a string and your middle finger down a string. And those are the only 2 chords you need to know to play this song. This third one is kind of optional. So this third one is called our E minor add 9 chord, and it's gonna look like this and sound like this. Super beautiful. But the reason I say this is optional is because throughout the song, if you can't play this or this is an uncomfortable stretch for you, you can actually play the E minor and our D6 add 9 over F sharp. But if you want to add that E minor add 9 in there, it does kind of make the whole song sound a little bit more eerie and kind of brings it together. So totally optional, but those are the 3 chords to play through this song. So go ahead and pause the video and take a little bit of time to memorize these chord shapes as well as practice transitioning back and forth between them, because it'll make learning the rest of the song so much easier. Now this is one of the easier songs to do with chord shapes because there's really only 2. If you want to do the optional third one, there's 3. All of them are 2-finger chords, so hopefully it shouldn't take you too long to get these memorized and under your belt. But once you can transition between them smoothly, then we can move on to the strumming that I would suggest for this song. Alright guys, so as I always say, if you are a beginner at guitar or you're somebody who struggles with playing and singing at the same time, the first thing I would suggest you do is to bring up this song and go ahead and play through the entire thing with a single down strum on each chord change as you sing through the song. And just take this time to really get used to what word you're singing whenever those chords are changing. So here's a quick example of what that would look like. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. All right, that's just a quick example, but you would essentially want to do that for the entire song and just really make sure you know what word you're singing when those chords are changing. And it's actually something you do right now if you check out my Patreon page. I do have this entire guide available to download and print out, so I'll make sure to leave that link in the description box for you. But once you've done that, we can talk about more of a full strumming pattern that you can apply for this song. All right guys, so let's go ahead and break down the strumming pattern that you can use to apply for the entire song. Those of you familiar with my channel, this might look a little different because today we're going to be counting in a triplet rhythm, which is something that we don't cover very much on my channel. So if you're not familiar with triplets, we're basically assigning 3 counts to each beat. So we have 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a for our measure, okay? Now on screen, I do have 2 measures listed, and that's because for this entire song, you're gonna be switching back and forth between 2 chords, and one is always gonna be 1 measure on the left, and the other is gonna be 1 measure on the right. So that's why this looks a little more convoluted. We do have 2 measures to cover here. So the full pattern, counting it through, on our left half or first measure, we have 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, okay? Down, down, up, down, down, up. Then to finish it out on the second measure, we have a similar pattern. We have 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. Down, up, down, up, down, up. All right? So all together, if we string it along with both measures, it would look like this. We have 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. All right? So even though the chords for this song can be pretty beginner friendly, I think the bigger struggle would definitely be counting this rhythm and getting it right. So basically, if you need more time, go ahead and pause and just really make sure you understand how to count this. But essentially what we want to do is we're going to switch chords in the middle because those are 2 different measures. So let's go ahead and start with the intro. We have our E minor chord down. What you're going to do is you're going to play your E minor for the left half or the first measure. So we have 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. All right? Down, down, up, down, down, more simple, then we're gonna move on to our next chord, and we're gonna finish it off with the second measure, or the one on the right. Down, up, down, up. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Okay? So if you speed it up a little bit, you can hear how it kind of has that swingy kind of feel that the original song has. So we have down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, switch. E minor, D over F sharp. All right. So again, if adding in those chords was a little more tricky, go ahead and pause and just practice that really slowly on your own. Once you have the general feel of the downs and up strums, what you want to do is slowly speed that up so that we can get it at tempo. So at tempo, it'll sound more like this. 1, 2, ready, go. So like I said, if you're a beginner, this rhythm can be pretty tricky to get right, so pause as much as you need to and practice as much as you need to, but that is what it would sound like at full tempo. So if you are a beginner, you can actually just apply this strumming pattern as is here for the entire song. Here's an example of the verse. On the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the lights. There were plants and birds and lots of things. There were salmon, hills and rain. All right, and like I said, you could apply this to the chorus as well. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with the rain. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can remember your names. There ain't no one for to give you a hand. Okay, and then you would just keep going. So if the strumming pattern as written is already tricky enough, go ahead and pause, and you can use this to play through the entire song. However, if you do want to make it sound a little bit more like the original recording and you want to add a cool technique in there, I am going to be showing you that next, so let's go ahead and talk about how we can dress this up a little. Hey, really quick! In addition to the printable guide we've been looking at, did you know I also offer customizable backing tracks, polls for what songs you want to learn next, and even video chats if you're having trouble? You can unlock all these perks and more if you become a patron, which helps me grow my channel and make more videos just like this one. Or if Patreon's not your thing, you can still help me out a lot by giving me a thumbs up and leaving a comment below to help me reach more people in YouTube's recommendations. It only takes a second but makes a huge difference. So thanks so much, and let's get back into it. Alright guys, so once you have the general strumming rhythm down, what we can do now is add a little bit of a percussive factor into our strum. And how we're going to do that is we're going to take the pick that's in our right hand, and as you strum down, so let's put our E minor chord. As you strum down on the strings, you want to kind of angle your pick so that it's at this angle, and you're going to rake your strings across. But while you're doing that, you're also going to take the side of your hand here, and you're just going to kind of place that on the strings to mute them so they don't ring out. So super similar to palm muting, but what's going to be different here is we're going to only do it for one beat at a time, and you're going to kind of do them at the same time. So as you rake down on the strings, you also want to kind of slide the side of your palm down with the strings to kind of have this percussive chucking sound. All right, so you shouldn't be able to hear the chord anymore after you apply this. It should just sound kind of like raking strings. Okay, so once you can get that technique down, you can actually strategically add it into the strumming pattern to make it sound a little more like the original and give it a little bit more rhythm. So this is really a place where you can experiment and add this kind of raking chuck into wherever you think sounds the best. What I like to do is in the verses, I'm going to go ahead and change some of these arrows to an X, and that's where I like to kind of use this kind of chucking motion, okay? So in the verses, I have down, chuck, up, down, chuck, up. And then I switch chords, down, up, chuck, up, down, up. All right? right? This is just what I think sounded pretty close to the original song, but as they play through the song, it does change a lot. So if you wanted to listen to the original and try to, mimic the way they do it, you could do that, but this is just how I like to play through my cover. So in the verses, I go down, chuck, up, down, chuck, up, down, up, chuck, up, down, up. For the chorus, here's another example of where I like to change around where I do the chucking motion. So for the choruses, I'm gonna replace the X's with different arrows now. Basically, this is how I like to do the choruses. So you can see here, we're starting with no chucking, down, down, up, down, down, up. Then on my second measure, I like to switch to a chuck. Chuck, up, chuck, up, down, up. All right? So like I said, it's totally a really great idea to, place these chucks strategically throughout this strumming pattern in a way that you think sounds good or feels natural for you. But those are just two examples of ways that I like to play through this song, but please feel free to take it and make it your own. But basically, if you apply this kind of chucking, raking, muted, kind of percussive sound into your strumming rhythm, it can really just dress up the song and make it sound a lot more like the original. All right guys, so again, go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to get this strumming rhythm under your belt. It is a little more tricky because triplet rhythms are not super common in a lot of the songs that I teach here on my channel, but once you get the count of it and you kind of get the feel, it should be a little bit easier for you. Again, if you are a beginner, you can play it plain old Jane, just like it's written, or you can also experiment with adding in those percussive chucks throughout the strumming pattern and figure out a creative way that you like to play that. But once you have all of that figured out, we can come back and put everything we've learned together to play through the song. 1, 2, ready, go. Fun playing through the rest of this song with me? Then make sure to check out my Patreon page where you can unlock access to this as well as all my other fast track and play along guitar tutorials. I'll make sure to leave that link in the description box down below. If you enjoyed learning this song with me, then you should definitely check out this video. Not only does it have a super similar vibe and feel, but it's just as fun and easy to play, so I'll see you over there. Bye!